everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Frank, your host. Monday. Again, welcome to the channel. What have you guys been doing? I'm closing up for the day for work. I actually got back in from a long walk because I was able to finish a little early. And, oh, before I forget, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I already said welcome, but for new channel members or channel visitors, if you will, welcome back. I got, if you haven't seen on my other videos, this is actually a new camera angle that I thought I'd just throw out today. Just, I wanted to shake things up, right? Maybe it helps get different views. Probably not, but I just wanted to do it. So anyway, Monday, April, right? I got. Yeah, my memory's not so great. April 14th. Tomorrow's payday. I totally forgot. Oh my god. I think like 4 days ago I probably was like, oh yeah, but now the day before I kind of blanked out. So yeah, it's with how today's been going on. So yeah, it's just been like, all right, another day in paradise. So yeah, I wanted to come out here for a couple minutes, just shoot the you-know-what with you guys. What do you guys got going on today or later on today? Since it's here in Michigan and it's like 70 degrees and I got like earlier it was colder. It's actually interesting because it's actually kind of cold in my house. And I went outside and it was hot. And even though it's like almost the same temperature, it feels freezing in my house. But it's only off by like maybe 3 degrees. It's like 67, 66, and it's like 70 outside. So anyway. And, you go for a walk, and then the sun, but anyway, yeah, I might be a little... But I'm going to go work in my garage. I got a couple projects is probably saying it lightly. I got projects everywhere, and, it's one of those things when life throws stuff at you, right? You got, certain priorities move over, and I knew these projects would be very, very, very long, so I'm not too surprised. But I had one project going in my laundry room. I have this old vanity. I've had it forever. I just never hung it up. So it was like crappy weather. It was like freezing or raining or whatever. So I had projects inside in my basement. I think I've alluded to a few times. So I haven't really touched that in a while, but so it's mostly done. Because I'm preparing to purge, if you will, right? I call this every kind of spring or fall, right? We all kind of do like a little, we'll call it seasonal cleaning, just like get rid of this stuff, or, do a little bit more deep cleaning, right? I probably should have a schedule of like maybe next year. I kind of know, mental note, like what things need. Anyway, with that said, just most of what I need to do downstairs is pretty much done. So I'm trying to get a garage sale potential. That's the thought. My buddy wants to do a garage sale. So what we're thinking is kind of combining a bunch of stuff. So I don't know. The market's not great. The economy ain't that great. Money's probably tight. So I don't know. I don't have a lot of expectations. But I have some decent stuff that wouldn't mind. I just don't want to throw it away, right? But I don't want to just give it to someone and they get it for free type of thing. I don't know. I have some stuff that I wouldn't mind. Like, there are some stuff that's just like, yeah, go ahead, just take it off my hand. I'm just going to throw that away anyway, right? But, yeah, I got stuff in here that's like worth a couple $100. So, hey, give me a little bit of something, right? But, but yeah, then I was trying to clean out the garage. And then I got my garage is mostly cleaned. Now I think it's going to be more of reorganizing all my tools. So I got a large toolbox. So I bought a new, like a box to go on top. Like I got a long wheel, like a wheeler. You can wheel it around, right? They also have another one that's like a smaller one that I can wheel around. I'm building that one. But I got all my, I have a whole bunch more room. And then I want to reorganize everything just because like certain tools are one in here and I kind of want to combine, move things around. And I know some of the tools I have out there probably don't even really need. So some of the things need to go downstairs and some of the things that are downstairs kind of need to come up here So it's a rebalancing, right? I've lived here in this house for 9, 10 years. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing today. I don't know if Mr. Raymond, if you're on, hey man, thanks for stopping by. I don't know if he's going to be doing a live stream. Lately, his live streams have been off the hook. They're going to keep it up. The one on Saturday, chef's kiss, man. But yeah, they've been pretty good. So, hey, I'll shill for you for free. But actually, to be serious, note to add on top of that, I think as men, we need to kind of uplift other men, even if we don't get any credit. So, I have no qualms about it. I actually think, even if he doesn't think he has a full message to say, or that he feels like he's, because I feel the same way. Like I'm the guy screaming and hollering from the rooftops, and no one's like, "Oh, look at that crazy guy." We're trying, right? We care, we have passion, and it comes out. And I know he may think that he's being negative, but things that I've told in my life is that pretty much if you're telling the truth, you're being negative. So that's what they tell you, right? But anyway, with that said, let's look real quick here. I'm gonna look away from the channel, okay? I see the market's like, I'm not sure what the descriptor would be for today's market. It's more like, kind of like that. Like earlier, like gold and silver were like taking a little bit of a hit. My miners were like down, and that's typically what happens. But it was interesting. The 10-year kind of went down, and then the Dixie, yeah. So the relative strength of the dollar was going down. So I'm like, how is that possible? Where you have the treasury yield going down, you have the dollar value going down, but yet gold is going down with it? Like, no, normally that's a perfect setup for gold to go up, right? But let's see here. We'll look at the rest of the indicators here. I always use SPY as a gauge. Just S&P is probably a good. I use it more or less, and then SPY is an ETF that you can buy. And I just kind of use it as more of a general market trend, right? So SPY is up a little bit more than 1%. Bitcoin's up about 1%. Gold is still struggling. It's a little down. Well, one won't call it struggling, but it's recovering. But it's only down by like a couple bucks, so that's nothing. That's like less than 0.5%. Silver, it's up almost 1%. That's not bad. And then all my miners are recovering, which is good. Looks like Wheaton came about 1%. Let's take a look at some of the other ones. Yeah, so I'll take that. Oh wow, what is that? MAG. Dang, they actually went up considerable today. That's good. Yeah, I don't know. So I've been trying to liquidate a couple of my dumb meme coins on Coinbase, and why did I? So some of they were bleeding like left and right. And I'm like, all right, let's just stop. Right, and then they just keep going down, 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 down. I'm just like, well, it's good. I didn't put any more money, but in the same breath, if somehow they recover, then maybe I should. I don't know, right? They're just dumb meme coins. So one in particular, it's Peanut. I like the squirrel, the poor little squirrel guy. Him and his buddy Fred. They both, whatever, crazy liberals, killing people's pets and stuff. But no, all the people getting raped and murdered in New York, because of illegals, right? Like just. Talk about having your life priorities out of sync, right? But anyway, and I think I have like Giga Chad and like Doge and maybe one. I'm trying to remember what was the other one. Shubanubu. I don't know. I call it Shubanubu. It's the dog, whatever the hell. And I think I got like less than 100 in each one of those, right? So it's just like, I don't know. Just threw it out there. They were up one time, down, whatever, right? So we're trying to exit out of that. I only have like one coin that's up right now, but if you've been a regular to the channel, you kind of know that I've been buying a little bit every day. So when it's kind of like instead of me buying a Starbucks, right? I was I was buying Bitcoin. Right? So, you know, instead of spending $10 at a Starbucks, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like maybe buying the Starbucks had more value because at least you had something to consume. I don't know. That's what it always feels like. I always tell myself, hey, at least I'm not wasting my money on a Starbucks. It's like, yeah, this is worse, Frank. You're throwing it down the toilet. You gotta try to find things to make you laugh. I don't want to say I make fun of myself, right? I understand where my strengths and my weaknesses are, and I kind of know me, right? So, it's a little bit of like that self-deprivation. I'm trying to remember what they kind of make light of a situation, right? But, nowadays, people are just nasty. Like, some of the people, and it's actually funny, I think in one of my last videos, I think other than Raymond, because I'm trying to remember the day before Palm Sunday, and he's like, oh, hey, thanks for reminding me. He like told me about the full moon. I'm like, oh, hey, I forgot about the full moon. So we both reminded each other or something, right? But like, I got like 2 or 3 other comments, and they're all like negative, and I'm just like what? What are you? And it wasn't like I had a hot take on anything, so it's almost like more data to show you that, like, people, I don't know, man, like, it's hard for me to explain it, because, man, I thought I had bullies, like, in middle school and high school, and I don't know, I think we still have bullies even when we're older, but that's for another video that I'm not sure if I'm ever going to make. But yeah, especially like on Raymond's channel, I've seen other people's channels, and it's like, you think these people, I don't know, like, a part of me is like, I think they're either bots, number one, right? Number two, I don't know, you might want to call them trolls, or I don't know, I think they're kind of more like NPCs or something. It's like they want, like, there's one thing about provocation, right? Like, trying to, like, it's like you almost like you feel so bad about yourself, you gotta go around and beat someone up. And then because they're worse off than you feel better about yourself. I will never understand that, right? I don't know. Maybe that's like the borderline psychopath that does that, right? But it's like, don't you have something better to do with your life? Like, it's not like just one little line like, hey, shut up, dumb. I wouldn't even consider that. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. You just didn't like the message? Yeah, sure, whatever. But, like, if you have like 3 sentences, or I've seen, like, I'm like, it looks like, like you go to, those stores, you buy like one item. It's like, why is the receipt this? Isn't I should have to make a video about that. Like, all the pet peeves in my life, right? It's like, why is it? It's like, I bought one, oh, well, there's this rebate, and then there's this, and then there's the policy this. So you're like, what the hell? I'm buying one thing. Like, it should be like this, little bit small. But anyway, right? Like, just, I can't read. I don't read this stuff. Like, it's almost like I'd rather have a troll, like, give me, like, pages of, like, just, he's just going. I'd be like, yeah, I'm not reading that. Delete. Like, so, anyway, guys, what do you guys have going on? What are the things that you guys have been seeing that you've been struggling with? I think I've been pretty clear I don't want to say last 3 weeks. It's definitely been last 2 weeks. I call it like, I'm not even sure if motivation is the word to say. Maybe it is motivation. I don't know. It's just like, what purpose, right? Like, what, you start going down this path of thought, and it's almost like you don't want to go down there, but you got to go down. Like, remember, I don't know if you guys, but I remember as like a little kid, and my grandparents, I never knew the only grandparents I knew were my 2 grandmas, because my one grandpa on my dad's side died before he was like 7, and then the other side, I don't know, I think grandma was an independent woman even back then, so, because like supposedly he was a deadbeat dad, but I'm wondering, right? Like, but anyway, I never met him, right? So I call him Grandpa because they got married before I was born, right? So, but yeah, they lived up north, and they had like one of these, kind of like a cottage-ish, right? And the basement, it wasn't like the worst basement, but like, dude, there was like one bulb, you know, and and it's like funny, even though, it'd be almost the middle of the day, and it's like black, like dark, right, and it's a little musty, right, and it's like you gotta go all the way down. And it's not at the end of the steps. No, it's like you gotta go all the way down, and then it's like halfway. Then you gotta pull the little thing, right? And if you pull it too hard, the damn string comes off, and the light doesn't turn on, and then you're too short and you can't. So anyway, it was just like, oh, you don't want to go down there, right? So that's kind of like sometimes my thought pattern is kind of like that. It's like I don't want to go down there, but I gotta go down there, right? Like this ain't gonna be fun. But but I don't know if you guys struggle with it too. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I know other people do, but. Do you guys worry about? Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. Like, why do I get out of bed for anything, right? I mean, especially like, I'm trying to get out of bed for me, but it's just like, why? What? I think I know what my purpose is, but I feel like I can't. How about this? I think I know what God has put me here purpose-wise. I just don't know if I will be ever allowed to do it. If that's like a way, if I could try to communicate that, right? But what do you guys, how do you guys keep grinding? I mean, I am a grinder. It's just lately it's really hard. And it's just like sometimes, I don't know, like I said, maybe it was weather related. I don't feel nearly as bad. It's nice and sunny outside. I don't know if you guys can see it. Here, I don't know if you guys can see it. So I got the window up a little bit. It's pretty bright. And that's the west side. So my house faces the west, is the front of my house. And it's nice and warm. So I do know when it's like in the summertime, well, maybe not quite the summertime, because I'm not much of a big, hang on, I gotta move it over a little bit. Sorry. I'm more of a fall person. Like I don't want it to get below 50, like maybe 50 in the morning and maybe 60 so when the sun does come up, right, so maybe it's getting more vitamin D, feeling a little bit better, but it's kind of like, all right, why am I doing anything? Why am I cleaning my house, right? Well, why, right? No one else sees it other than me, right? Like, anyway, some of the things I've been challenging, and I just curious if you guys are, or if you've had, what has helped, and maybe we can share that with others, right? I mean, I'm not going to be doing anything dumb, but I would be amiss if I said that I've never thought about the self-checkout thing, right? I don't know. Part of me just says, right, like, yeah, dude, that's like worst case. It has to be like I'm down on my luck and, the cops are coming for me type of crap, even though I didn't do anything. You know what I mean, right? Hey, we got to hunt down those American people that have, freedom flowing through their veins, right? The communists are coming for me, right? But that's probably not going to happen anytime soon. But we'll see, man. I don't know. Future looks pretty weird, but I will say the man, he's helping. He's no savior. He's just our leader, right? And I hope. I hope the real leader, the man upstairs, right? This is whatever they call it, Holy Week, right? If you guys are participating, well, I don't know what normal people do during this week. Whatever, but yeah, Good Friday comes up, and that's another thing. That'd be something kind of maybe to throw at Raymond. Because I've always said, well, it doesn't make sense that that he would have died on a Friday, right? Like, he probably should have died on a Thursday? Because it says he was in the grave, right? 3 days and 3 nights. Well, if that's the case, all right, well, Friday night, Friday night, Saturday night, right? Sunday night, right? So then it would have been Monday when he resurrected, right? Like, so it should be Thursday? But then someone said, oh no, it just says 3 days in the earth. So Friday, meaning during the day, and then Saturday, during the day, and then Sunday, he was still in there. But even though he rose on somewhere in the day, he was at least in there. So, I'm like, come on, is that the So it's just an interesting thought experiment, right? It's not, it's not going to affect. It shouldn't affect your belief. It shouldn't affect your theology. At least that's how I see it. And I think I've been in a church where, like, literally, it was like everything's, oh yeah, God made sure. I'm like, what are you talking about, God made sure? I'm like, why is there like 10,000 different Bibles with different translations? And, this book has this one, Like, why is this, they translate this word this way, but in the Greek Septuagint, the word meant this, and why did it change? Right? Like, we none of us were there, so we don't, no one ever alive witnessed these events, right? But I also believe it's not all just made up, right? I mean, no matter what, like, even things that we see or stories that we hear, like, humans don't have a good way of, like, just creating something that never existed before. I mean, you get close, meaning, like, okay, maybe you see one thing and then you see another thing. Like, let's say you know this and you know that, right? So when you see something, right, that's like old accounts of, spaceships, right? Like, oh, a ship, right? A sky ship, right? Because they know ships on the ocean. That's why they described it that way, right? So you've seen a ship, but you never saw it. You've only seen it in the water, right? You never saw it in the sky, right? Or star people. I think the Indians call it star brothers. I think they call them star brothers, star people. And they say, hey, they came from the stars, right? So anyway, right? It's like we don't come up with something completely brand new, right? There's always something that we draw analogous from, and then we can morph it, hybridize, and maybe change it a little bit, or like two aspects or multiple aspects of something, and then it converges into one, right? So anyway, yeah, I know this was like this is what happens. My thoughts are all over the place. How about this? If you're not new to the channel, you're like, oh yeah, this is typical Frank. This is why he doesn't get any views. This is why he doesn't get any subscribers. I don't know, man. I'll be like, Raymond, it's my channel, man. If you don't like it, well, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. I'm just kidding. Come on, man. Laugh every once in a while, because if you don't laugh, you'll just cry and, you'll just be mopey all the time. We don't want to do that, right? We don't want toxic negativity, and we don't want toxic positivity, right? That's what we don't do here. I'm neither one of those. But if someone says that to you, they're probably not being accurate. Well, anyway, I'm going to get out there in the garage, have some fun. I hope you guys have a great day. If you guys got anything, hey, man, put it down below. Whatever the comment is, I don't care, right? I'll engage with it, But with that said, I'll see you later, okay? Bye.